Have you heard of Google Glasses?
Yeah, definitely.
And these days, there are Meta Ray-Ban from Meta and also Vision Pro from Apple. And Google has been thinking about whether to restart Google Glasses as a business again. Can you tell me if you are the leader for this project group, what is your decision? And how would you want to design the Google Glass if you are going to restart it?
Okay, sounds great. So do you want me to give like a decision first and then lay out how I should build it, or do you want me to think about design first and
I'm
then
not sure whether we want to rebuild it or not. If you think that we're not going to rebuild it, I'm going to change another question to you. So it is totally fine. Yeah, just go with your best instinct.
Okay. So quick answer, I feel like we should definitely try to rebuild it because currently definitely like Meta's Ray-Bans and Apple's glasses are raising a lot of like clout and a lot of people are looking into that field. And I think currently the existing like launches and existing use cases are only addressing a part of the potential within the whole like glasses market. For example, I know that currently Meta glasses have some abilities to integrate with maps, allowing people to know the directions when walking, and it's allowing people to like take videos on their like encounterments day to day as a record, and it allows them to take pictures. I'm not like a personal user of the Ray-Ban or Apple glasses, but those are the use cases that I know that they can do. And I feel like in the future, there are a lot of like other addressable markets. For example, if we think about online meeting, which is what I'm doing with you now, we're currently doing it on the screen. However, if everyone's like wearing glasses, we can have like AR or VR simulations, pretending that we're sitting in a meeting room and meeting together. And that can be like another market that we can address. And a lot of like similar use cases definitely shows me a lot of potential. And as like a Google, such big company, feel like we can definitely utilize a lot of resources and data that we have to build something that can enter the niche market.
Okay, sounds good. Um, then you definitely want to go for this product division. How do you want to design Google Glasses?
Okay, sounds great. And first, I'd like to start with a few clarifying questions, if that's fine.
Yeah.
So, are there specific reasons to why we suddenly want to rebuild this? Are we seeing any incentives, any competitions?
Well, you tell me you decided to rebuild it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'll dive deeper into that later on then. And in terms of Google's target users, are we designing this for a specific user group by any chance?
No.
Okay, sounds great. And in terms of like our launching approach, are we looking to launch it first within the US market or any other markets?
Mm, Um, I'm I'm open to suggestions. You can design the product for US or international markets as long as like you have enough evidence to support your conclusion.
Sounds good. And in terms of like who am I? Should I assume that okay, I guess I am the PM at Google, you
Yeah.
mentioned. And are there like engineering constraint that I should be aware of?
Um, no, so far, but we do want to have a pretty practical product to launch. Because you just mentioned the competition is out there, and we already have Google Glasses like decades ago, and we don't want to be left out in this
Mhm.
market.
Definitely. And in terms of like the actual product that I'm building, should I assume that it should be like a hardware glasses?
Yeah, I'm very open to your direction.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm like thinking about both the potential like software that user can use or the actual glasses, and I'll dive in deeper into that later on. Yeah, I think that's all my questions for now. Do you mind giving me 1 or 2 minutes so I can gather my thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some initial thoughts. And before I start, I'd like to briefly align my framework with you. So first, I want to introduce my product mission, and then I'll talk about some competitive landscape. What are like the existing players, and how should we find a place where we can enter the market? And then I'm going to introduce the product goal or the North Star metric for the design. And for the second part, I'll talk about the stakeholders and prioritize the stakeholder, and then talk about specific user segments and try to make a prioritization there. And then I'm going to move on to talk about user pain points, prioritize a pain point, and eventually map out like 2 to 3 solutions.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'd like to start with talking about the product mission for Google Glasses. So in my mind, when thinking about Google Glasses, I'm thinking about a product that help people better connect with each other, utilizing the data that Google has, and to help people learn about the experiences that they may not be able to experience otherwise. Because in my understanding, glasses are a way for us to simulate ourselves being in different environments and taking videos to remember or record that environment. So I feel like it can be a chance for us to meet new people, go to new places, and like as if we're actually traveling.
Mhm.
And some competitive platforms or competitive apps in the space is one, the Meta glasses, the Ray-Ban. The second one, the Apple glasses or the VR like headset. And another type of competitor is the social media apps such as TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube, because I feel like those are also platforms where people can potentially meet each other and experience new things that they've never thought about in their life. So at the end of the day, we're competing for people's leisure time. And in terms of like my business goal or metric, I think I want to first target the number of products successfully sold. And my definition for successful is the product that's being like paid, received by the customers, and there's no like negative reviews, refund, or exchange request within 30 days of sales. Yeah. Do you have any questions here or follow-ups?
I think the metric sounds good. I just want to add a follow-up question to your competitive landscape. You talk about Meta Ray-Ban Vision Pro and social media apps. I understand that you want to expand your landscape a little bit to look at not direct competitors, but also indirect competitors. But why do you want to define the let's say like the value proposition for Google Glasses as in like meet each other and experience things together?
Mm-hmm. I feel like that is my personal understanding where I think the glasses can be nicely integrated into other functionalities. Because if the existing functionality is simply to guide people around, to allow them to record videos, we can think about other use cases where there's like less competitors. So we can first break into that field and then expand onto the existing use cases from Meta and Apple.
Okay, got it.
Yep. And would you give me another minute so I can think about the stakeholders and user groups?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I think I have some understanding of the stakeholder and users. So for users, I believe that there are three primary users. The first one are like actual users who wear the glasses and want to meet new people and like pretend like they're traveling to different spaces and like look at different things. And the second stakeholder are creators and organizers. Because when thinking about this, I'm thinking about like live events that people can access when wearing glasses, such as online concerts, online like music festivals, online football games, or even like travels to Punta Cana. So stuff like that. And the third stakeholder can be advertisers because as we imagine, after wearing Google Glasses, we're almost like entering a new world, and there can definitely be a lot of like chances for advertisers to promote their products. So that's the third stakeholder. And if I were to prioritize a stakeholder, I'd probably prioritize the users because one, they're like the people who's directly using whatever features or functionalities that we launch. And two, I feel like they're a lot more like addressable cases or pinpoints that it's currently existing within the users. And to dissect the users, I feel like it can be separated into different segments. The first one can be students because they can have a very special use case, such as going to classes, meeting their classmates for like team projects, or even like cooking startup ideas. And the second user groups are professionals. And I can imagine professionals to have a lot of like different use cases. For example, experiencing the new factory with their coworkers or meeting the clients in a specific setting without having to travel. So very special use cases right there. And the third user groups are families because I think currently sometimes it's hard for families to meet, hard for families to like all get together in one physical space. So glasses can play a role here. And the fourth user group can be elderlies because sometimes elderlies want to explore the world, they want to go hiking, they want to go swimming, but they're physically like it's harder for them to like go out and travel. So this can be also another use case. And the last user group are accessible people. So I feel like the glasses, if we're indeed addressing the connecting with more people and learning about new like experiences, then it should be a great use case for like accessible people because their actions are very limited. And if I were to prioritize, I'd probably prioritize students for three main perspectives. The first reason is the market size, because as you can think of, students are like the younger generation, and they're the ones who are most like willing to try out new technologies, most excited by new launches in like from different tech companies, and at the same time, they're the kind of people who's like the most curious about the new experiences out there. And at the same time, they have less time, less money to afford like actual trips and physical encounterments with people that they want to meet. So glasses can be a great like fit right here. And the second perspective is the revenue they can bring or impact the North Star. And again, our North Star metric is the number of products successfully sold. And I feel like if the students are indeed very curious and have like a lot of potential needs from glasses, then a lot of them will go ahead and buy it. And at the same time, I know that glasses might be like a little not it's not like a necessity product. So we should definitely think about whether students can afford it when thinking about like the further go-to-market approach. But for now, I would say potentially students can buy a lot of our products. And the third perspective is current level of pain. I feel like students currently have a lot of like pain regarding not being able to meet enough people outside of campus and not being able to experience so many things. For example, I'm a college student. I would like to travel 10 times a year, but I just physically don't have the money and don't have the time. But like within my learning, like when I'm learning history, I would like to like go see what French like churches actually look like. So it helps me better learn. But I can't afford to go there, don't have the time. So I feel like if I have a glasses that allows me to like experience walking in the streets of like France, it'll be very helpful. So I feel like there are a lot of pain that we can address. Do you have any follow-ups, any questions right here?
No, I think it sounds good.
Okay. Do you mind giving me another 1 minute so I can think about the pain points for students?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think I have three pain points down for students. The first one is the ROI, because a pain point for students is that they don't have a lot of like disposable income. So they're definitely concerned about if I buy the Google Glasses, how often am I going to use it? Is it going to be worth the price? So that is like the first pain point. And the second pain point that's very specific for students is whether their friends are using the same products because especially like within like teenagers or college students, we live in dorms, we like take classes with friends on a daily basis, so the social proof is a huge factor. And at the same time, if like only myself is using glasses, it's hard for me to do those like online meetings where everyone feels like they're in the same physical space or online concerts with my friends, so the use cases are decreasing. So like the second pain point is a lot of friends are not having it, and the third pain point is that is it going to help me achieve my goals in terms of finding a job and getting good grades? Because students have a very like specific purpose, which I mean like all the students, their goal is to get good grades, learn stuff, and find a job. So if Google Glasses can indeed help solve those pain points, I think the market and the sales will be a lot better. And if I were to prioritize a pain point, I'd probably prioritize the fact that students may concern that the glasses are not practical in terms of increasing their grades or helping them find a job. And I want to talk about it from three perspectives again. The first one is how painful it is. The second one is reach. And the third one is impact and North Star. So for glasses not being practical, I feel like the pain level is very huge because if let's just take myself for example, if I know that this class is going to be fun, allow me to like meet people within the same physical space, pretend that I'm traveling to different countries, um, but if it's not like practical, then I may not use it. So it's preventing the users from having the incentive to buy it and try it. So that is very painful. And the second pain, or the second perspective is reach. I feel like evaluating whether a product is practical or not is going to be a common thing that all students do. So the reach is very large, like the pain point. And the third perspective is impact and North Star. And here, the North Star metric again is number of products successfully sold. But if people think that it's not practical, they're not going to buy it. So that's a huge like problem for us in terms of achieving the North Star. And yeah, those are the reasons why I think prioritizing the pain point of not being practical enough is the top one. Do you have any questions or follow-ups right here?
No, go ahead. I'm curious, what type of solutions do you have?
Okay, sounds good. Would you mind giving me another minute for that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, I think I have some solutions ready. So the first solution that I was thinking about is as like the founder or like the um I guess, product managers or the company who launches the glasses, we want to hold some cyber networking events. So basically, I know that students may be looking for different career opportunities, and a very important part is for them to talk to different people, understand their experiences, and eventually try to get their like referrals or recommendations, or simply to learn about the job. And if we start as a company, like Google start to hold networking events, allowing students to join, whether via Zoom, via Google Meet, or via Google Glasses can start the trend of people using glasses to try to like simulate meeting in person. And that can definitely be a very practical use case. And that second feature is basically synchronizing Google Glasses with other Google products in terms of workflows. For example, Google currently have Google Workspace, such as Google Doc, Google Slides, and also Google Calendar, where I personally use to put all of my schedules and syllabus on to remind me. And thirdly, integrate with Notebook LM, which is a huge like practical learning tool, allowing people to turn like lectures into podcast to like increase people's learning opportunities. And YouTube, where a lot of like creators talk about different classes. So if Google Glasses can integrate with all those functions, so when people like wear their Google Glasses, first, I'm able to see 1, 2, 3, what's on my calendar. And then I could click into one of them and go to YouTube and potentially it feels like there's like an actual human teacher teaching me in front of myself when I'm wearing the glasses. So like a lot of those AR related use cases can be really helpful in terms of helping students to know what they want to do and how to best do it. And the third feature I was thinking about is more like a moonshot feature, which is alternative learning experiences. Because again, drawing on my personal experience, I attended like international schools in Shanghai during middle school, and a way that our math teacher taught us math is through ping pong. So basically, the teachers are going to ask us really easy like math problems, like 29 plus 168, and then we're playing like a physical ping pong, so that trains us to think about math problems really fast. So I think Google Glasses have the feasibility of integrating those sport games or like easy like academic games into the real experience where we allow users to learn while having fun and playing sports. So I feel like that can also be a very special like appeal to the student body. And if I were to prioritize, I'd probably prioritize the cyber networking events first because of three perspectives. First one is impact to North Star, the second one is effort, and the third one is risk. Because as like Google, we should definitely consider risk when deciding to launch or build a feature. So first, again, our North Star metric is number of products sold. And if we start to launch the cyber networking events, and then probably a lot of other tech companies are going to follow suit to show that they are really like cutting edge in terms of adopting technology. And then potentially there's going to be a lot of student found networking events, such as the GHC or Scholar Finance events. And later on, like a lot more students are going to join those events through Google Glasses, which is going to start like a positive feedback loop and therefore a flywheel of people buying Google Glasses. So I feel like the impact is going to be very good in terms of the North Star. And the second consideration is the effort. I feel like if I were to rate the engineering effort needed to create a cyber networking event, it's probably small to medium because all we have to do is probably one, setting up those events, allowing people to enter through different ways, such as Zoom, Google Meets, and AR, Google Glasses. And more engineering resources should be spent in terms of like matching the personal profile to potentially the AR avatars within the like the fictional world. So that can take a lot more resources. But I think it's going to be worth it because we're a very big company. We have a lot of resources. And in terms of our goal of launching Google Glasses is to find those niche opportunities that's not currently like being addressed by Meta or Apple and start our like glasses venture right there. And the third consideration is risk. And if I were to think about risk, I can think about one, data privacy, two, user adoption risk, because one, like all the students really care about their privacy in terms of like data. We don't want to give our heights, weights, and all those like really personal data to Google just for them to create the avatar for us. So that's a consideration. I think a mitigation that we can do is definitely allowing people to choose which info or which like info on the resume that they want to provide in order to attend those networking events. And the second consideration is user adoption risk. What if Google Glasses just launched this event, but a lot of people are just joining through like other interfaces like Zoom or Google Meet instead of like actual Google Glasses and being like in person? I feel like that can definitely potentially be a risk. So before doing this, we may have to do a lot of like dog fooding, a lot of beta testing and A/B testing, or simply to give out a lot of user surveys to existing student users for Google products to see whether they're interested. And that can somehow mitigate the risk in terms of user adoption. So yeah, those are all my considerations. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that I think prioritizing the cyber networking events in terms of being a feature, being signature to like Google Glasses is what I want to do. And please let me know if you have any questions or follow-ups.
Got it. So you basically want to build this new type of like event format on Google Glasses and use it as a go-to-market as well.
Yep.
Got it. Another question I have is the second solution that you're talking about to synchronize Google Suite for workflows. Can you give me one example? Like you talk about, like for example, YouTube or calendar. But I can also watch YouTube on my laptop or like on my phone. I can also look at my calendar on my phone, right? So can you give me one example that you feel like it is such an improvement in experience using glasses, or it is something not um, uh like achievable without glasses.
Definitely. I can actually think about like several different use cases. So I'll briefly talk about each one. So first one is definitely Google Meet. So for example, now we're meeting on Zoom, similar to Google Meet, and we're just two like little rectangles on the 2D screen. Like I'm not able to touch you, not able to feel like you're like actually talking in front of me. However, if we meet through Google Glasses, then we're going to enter a VR or AR space where everyone is like a physical 4D character standing right there, and people can see our like movements, hand gestures, and it's just like a much better way for us to communicate. And also, we can think about interviews. So for now, a lot of people are like concerned about people using AI during interviews. Given the limitations posted by Google Meets, we're not able to see what the candidates have around them. However, if we're like meeting in person through Google Glasses, then all we have is like a notebook, and there's no way for us to cheat because you can see like everything surrounding us. So those are some use cases. And in terms of like YouTube integration, I feel like the core difference is that now when I'm watching YouTube, it's just someone talking on the screen. And there's no like real time, I guess, interactions or feedbacks, or when I'm watching like live, it's hard to feel like we're actually next to each other. However, if we meet or like watch YouTube lectures through glasses, then it's actually feeling like I'm sitting in a classroom watching the teachers to teach. So I feel like that experience can create a core difference in terms of learning efficiency and like how much I can enjoy that progress.
Got it. Um, yeah, I don't have any other questions. Do you want to talk about, I know you talk about your North Star as the number of devices sold, uh, but related to the networking event that you talk about, can you tell me how to define success if you're going with that solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I feel like my definition of success um relating the networking events to the product sold, um, would you give me 1 minute so I can think about it?
Yeah.
And do you want me to like quantify like what percentage of sales or are there like a specific direction of success metric that you're looking for?
Just imagine me as your data science partner, and you tell me how we, for example, you already launched it, and how do we want to define that this like feature is successful?
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I think I have my metrics ready. So the first thing we're going to measure is definitely our North Star metric, which is the number of products successfully sold. And then for specifically the Narcan event success, I'm going to measure a few sub-metrics. So the first one is event click-through rate. So out of all the Google Glasses student users, how many of them, when they see there are potential Narcan events, click into it? And the second metric is conversion rate. So out of people who click at the events and read about the descriptions, how many of them actually join the events through their Google Glasses? And the third metric is completion rate. So out of the people who joined the Narcan events, how many of them stayed for longer than 20 minutes or longer than 30 minutes? Because it really shows their level of engagement and participation. So we don't have to think about people who just joined, tried it out for 5 minutes and churn. So that level of completion is also a metric. And the fourth metric is number of networking events joined by Google Glasses versus other medias. Because I can imagine, even after I buy Google Glasses, whenever I see those events, I can still choose to join via Google Glasses or Zoom or Google Meets. So for like the Glasses owners, what percentage of meetings are joined by Google Glasses really shows the quality and if it's making a difference for them. And another metric I want to look at is number of people in the events. So if there's like 100 people in the events at first, and then it's gradually growing to like 1,000, 2,000, it's showing that the adoption rate is really higher. And it's also like a really good marketing mechanism for Google Glasses as well. And the last thing I'm going to look at is retention. So out of the people who joined the networking events through Glasses one time, how many of them continue to join the second and the third time, which shows like the quality of the events. And besides that, I'm also going to look at a few like guardrail metrics. The first one is negative review. So after people join the meetings through Google Glasses, how many of them are leaving negative review showing that it is not a good experience, it's causing me like giving me noxiousness, it's not efficient, and so on. And the app crash rate is the second metric because if people after people join like the Narcan events through Glasses, their whole like screen just shut down, then it's not going to work. And the third one is dangerous content. So when they join the Narcan event through Google Glasses, are there risk for them to like encounter any dangerous like um, content, or are they risk like saying the like dangerous content gonna be heard by a lot of that? So yeah, that's how I would measure success.
Good. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it for today. The answer.
Okay. How do you like your answer?
I think the solution part, I can probably do a little better because I think for the second solution, I was talking about like syncing with different um Google Suites, but I don't think I'm giving like a very concrete solution in terms of like how to build the product. And the second concern is when like segmenting the user groups, I feel like I can like do maybe a second layer of segmentation, but I wasn't able to think about like good
Mm,
ways to further segment students.
got it. Yeah, I think those two points are pretty valid. I think I just assumed that you were talking about college students because of the demographics that you're describing,
Mhm.
and the fact that they actually have money to purchase a device. So yeah, but if you want to add more clarity, that works for me as well.
Mhm.
I think let's like go back to your first question, whether Google should have this line of business. You showed how much you know about other companies and other products, which is really good. You talk about the features on Meta Ray-Ban. You could have more structure, because as a product manager or like the type of product manager that Google is looking for, it is very entrepreneurial. So you definitely do not just want to focus on the product features. So you probably want to talk about dive deeper into like the companies, different companies' strengths and weaknesses, their finances, are they having good sales on the glasses, whether it is a growing business, do we have a unique advantage if we have this line of business, right? And also, I think you realize later on when you answer your second part of the question, what is our goal, right? If
Mhm.
Google is thinking about whether to have this line of business or not, then we have to clarify what do we want to achieve. right? Usually Google doesn't really care about money. So earning more money is usually not your goal. So you probably want to talk about that. Well, wearable product is gonna be very popular with generative AI, right? Enable. So this is a whole new line of market, and Google as a tech giant, we don't want to lose in this market. So
Hmm.
stuff like this, right? You have to have a goal. Maybe you want to talk about the market share because we already have experiences from the previous Google Glasses business, right? So this time, maybe we could launch faster and get a considerable market share. So
Hmm.
you want to talk multiple dimensions. You want to talk about like their finance, their tech, their people, their talent, right? So all of that should be considered. If you are the head of whatever wearable product at Google, you have to think about it. Uh,
Hmm.
and I like you. So for the second part of the question, I like you explain a little bit when you talk about like user segments, or talk about like user pain points, to make sure that you and the interviewer are on the same page. And they also show your empathy as well. And it's also good that you think about affordability for students, because that is usually like for any product managers working in big tech, students always have this problem of low affordability problem. So even like, for example, LinkedIn is not targeting students as well because we don't expect you guys to subscribe premium. And you guys are already daily active user. So yeah, the affordability for student is something that you have to mention. It doesn't really uh, matter if you're saying like, oh, I'm gonna anchor at a price range of whatever, right? That is like a premium to have. But as long as you mention this, it is already good. I extremely, extremely love your confidence. Your communication, your confidence is gonna make your interview process very smooth with Google. And you talk about when you talk about pain points, you talk about whether their friends are using the same product. I think I'm kind of like hesitant on this because it sounds like a go-to-market thing. Uh,
Hmm.
it doesn't sound like a product feature. Like if you frame this as like, I want this to improve, let's say, social connection between students, then it probably makes sense because you want to add in the social effect, right? But at first I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Um, and it's good that you talk about using AI for interviews. Throughout this interview, you show me that you pay attention to what is going on in the market. So yeah, you that could make you be on the same page with the interviewer. Your three solutions are kind of all focusing on AR and VR experience.
Hmm.
I think you definitely like talk about different dimensions, but it would be great if you probably have AR, VR, and also focus on something else altogether. For example, how do you want to, let's say, integrate Gemini with glasses? How do you want to integrate Waymo experiences with glasses, right? Is there any synergy that you could discover there? Um, and when you talk about metrics, it's good that you talk about the app crash, the qualitative metrics, users' feedback. You could also talk about like some metrics, for example, like how many people report the event, because it is not online anymore, and maybe the AR or like the AR interaction for people are making people uncomfortable. So you probably want to consider that like or that aspect to make sure that you tell the interviewer that you think about the downside of some of the features as well. You talk about user feedback. You could also talk about because you want to kind of launch this as a go-to-market thing as well. So you want to track social media trend as well.
Okay.
What are people discussing about your event on social media, whether they're good comments or bad comments? But overall, I like your answer. And oh, I also like when you talk about the AR sports game in and add that into your learning experience. It's really like attracting the interviewer when you talk about your story. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's a good point as well.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for your feedback.
It's a pretty good answer. So good luck with your real interview.
Thank you.